What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pay to Drive, back by popular demand. We're doing more reaction content, this time to Kinsley Finance. She's got an unbelievable channel. Please go subscribe to her for Doordash content. Links in the description down below. Let's see if we can get just one like on this video, guys. And here we go about Doordash drivers quitting.
Doordash drivers everywhere are quitting, changing careers, giving up, getting frustrated, and deleting the app for good. So many Dashers are now just done with Doordash, and there are a lot of reasons why, so let's get into it. Ever since I made this video about Instacart shoppers quitting, I've been noticing more and more Doordash drivers quitting, especially in the last few months, and I don't really see that number slowing down anytime soon. I really think that the gig economy right now is struggling pretty bad, and mainly...
And guys, how many videos have I made talking about Doordash drivers quitting? I mean, it's endless at this point, but it's true. It keeps happening. Listen to what Kinsley's saying.
To keep people employed or even interested in working for them. And even Dashers who have been on the platform for multiple years are now quitting. I think in the last 2 years, Doordash has really tried to implement a bunch of new things that were supposed to help people make more money, but unfortunately it seems like a lot of people are actually making less money. And I think all the different things they were trying to implement was to create more opportunities, more money, and make drivers happier, but it just didn't have that effect. Some of the bigger things that they changed were the Dasher tier status and the slightly new earn by time feature. But since these things have come into play, it seems like there's more of a pay gap between different people, and it's not as even as a playing field as it used to be. And it really seems like there are a few people that are making a lot of money, and then a lot of other people are making near nothing, and they're struggling.
So I just want to mention about that, it's all market dependent for the most part. Okay, I mean, you could be the best cherry picker in the world, but if your market is not providing the higher paying offers, they're just not there. You can't pour from an empty cup, per se.
Going to get orders, waiting for hours to get orders, and so it doesn't really seem like a one-size-fits-all type of job anymore. And a lot of people at this point are just tired of waiting. There is so much waiting that happens with Doordash now where you are just waiting and waiting and waiting for orders, and a lot of people are just frustrated with that. And on top of that, after waiting for so long, they're only getting offered the worst orders. So I think one of the major reasons is people are tired of waiting. And now, of course, another major reason is because people aren't making enough money.
The waiting is definitely a problem because, as we know, time is money. So if you're not at least doing 2 orders per hour, you're falling behind. So that's something you always want to try and aim for, at least 2 to 3 orders per hour to maximize earnings.
Because there aren't enough orders, there are too many Dashers. The map is not turning red and busy for people to get on. And on top of that, because Doordash customers are not required to tip, most of the orders are $2 to $4, and people are not wanting to take that because it doesn't pay anything. Those orders especially are...
Let me just mention, though, like Vernon Thompson, like he mentioned in that video, if you take average orders, usually they'll give you better ones, depending on the market, of course. But if you get a $4 payout, okay, to go 1 mile, that's actually a quote-unquote good order. You're in the positive. Because if that order can take you 5-10 minutes to knock it out, that's a quick $4, and then boom, they might send you a $20 payout after that, and then boom, you're at 24, and then they may send you one after that for another $15. So then boom, you went from 24 to 34 to like 39, $40 in an hour. So you have to look at it that way. It's about the mileage to payout ratio. That's so important.
Aren't worth it when you have to factor in gas, taxes, just everyday expenses in your time. It's just not worth it to do those really low paying orders.
I get it.
And on top of that, a lot of people are struggling financially right now, which means that more people who were tipping before are not really tipping anymore. And so in turn, Doordash drivers are getting paid less. And for drivers, that's really frustrating, and it can just be really hard to make ends meet if you're not making enough money. Which brings me to my next reason. I think a lot of people are also done with Doordash, especially those who have been doing it for a while, because of the toll that it takes on your car and all the expenses that come with it. Obviously, doing any of these delivery jobs with your own car means that you're gonna have to do more miles, get more gas, change tires more frequently, get more oil changes, possibly have a different insurance. There are just a lot.
Listen, I know drivers, excuse me, that are not using synthetic oil, and they're getting oil changes like every month. Because you're supposed to get an oil change like every 3,000 miles. But now with synthetic, sometimes you can go up to like 12,000 miles without changing. All of my cars are synthetic oil, okay? I've always just put synthetic oil for the last 5-10 years because with the amount of driving I do, you're going to be doing oil changes like crazy, and it's just not worth it. So let me know how often you do oil changes, and do you use regular oil or do you use synthetic? Let me know in the comments, and let's see if we can get one like.
A lot of expenses that go into it. And after so long, it can just become too much to have to pay all that money to make almost nothing or be waiting a long time. And also, if you have a car, you don't want to beat up your car just to do delivery work. So yes, it could be good for some people to do long term, or sometimes it is good for people to do short term. But a lot of the time, once people start seeing the actual effects on their car, that is when they start quitting. Again, if they're getting paid more, it may be worth it to them, but because of the pay decrease, a lot of people are quitting because it just doesn't equal out. And another major reason that I think a lot of people are quitting is the toll that it takes on you personally to do this job. It's a lot of physical labor, maybe not so much if you're not doing shop and deliver orders, but you're constantly having to get in and out of your car, sometimes lift heavy things, bring things to people's apartments, climb who only knows how many stairs, and also just the mental effects this job has. You're constantly dealing with restaurants, customers, people's issues when it comes to their orders.
Yeah, you know, I feel like not a lot of people touch on this, that it is a very mental, straining job as well, because it's like she said, you can do everything right on your end, but you're at the mercy of a restaurant, the customer, the app glitching and stuff like that. So it's like when you take yourself out of the equation, your work ethic is like just a small part of it if you're doing everything correct. The other three factors, the app, the customer, and the restaurant, and even traffic and stuff are, you know, things that prevent you from doing well.
And some customers are just not nice. So it does take an effect on your mental health. That combined with the toll it takes on your car, people are just tired. Also, it's just not good for your mental health to be constantly seeing these really low paying orders. Subconsciously, that could have an effect on your self-worth. Overall, sometimes it's just not a good work environment. Now, of course, I think a lot of people are also quitting because a lot of people don't look at DoorDash as a career. They look at it as a side hustle, just something to make extra money. So for a lot of people, it is not long term. So that does
again, it depends on the person. If you are someone who's making like $3,000 to $5,000 a month doing DoorDash and you've got it down locked and you're just doing great, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay? If you can make it work, all right? If you can make it work.
Mean at some point they are going to quit. But because there are just so many dashers now and so many other factors, I think a lot of people, even those who are doing it as a side hustle, aren't seeing the benefits of it anymore. Now, I do think if DoorDash were set up properly, more people would stay on the app for longer if it was paying correctly and if there were more benefits to people. But because it's not set up like that, even those who are doing it as a side hustle, I'm also seeing are also quitting. Something I've also noticed recently is there's a lot less peak pay. DoorDash is not really offering many incentives. I know before they're doing different challenges where if you completed so many orders, you would get extra money, or even just regular peak pay where they're adding, you know, $1 or $2 onto every delivery. I'm not seeing as many of those opportunities anymore. I think another reason that a lot...
Yeah, peak pay has been few and far between for a lot of dashers in certain markets. Again, market dependent. So that is something to keep in mind.
A lot of people may be quitting is because of the changes of the rules. So before, the completion rate used to be 80%, which means that 20 out of every 100 orders you accepted, you could drop without you getting a risk of deactivation. But recently they changed it to 90%. And so this may not be something where people are necessarily quitting.
Is 90% in all markets? That's what I want to know. Was it a blanket rule change where they went from 80 to 90%? Let me know in the comments, guys. And if you haven't yet, tap that subscribe button. It's free, okay? You get content for free every day. Turn on all notifications.
Because of it, but they could be getting deactivated because of it without knowing that it changed. And although 10 out of every 100 orders doesn't seem like a lot, some people are in areas that are super, super busy and deal with restaurants that sometimes don't have the order and they have no choice but to drop it. And sometimes, as we all know, support can be a really long process. So dropping the order ourselves might just be faster so we don't have to wait forever and get...
But do your best to not go under the 90%, okay? Because you drop under that 90% and DoorDash gets trigger happy with the deactivation button. They're like, hey, oh, there they go. Because it's all automated. It's all automated, their system for the most part.
Get no pay. Like I said, it may not be a reason that people are quitting, But that added factor could mean that more people are getting deactivated. But I do think that some people may still quit because it kind of takes away the idea of the job, which is this freedom to accept and decline and do all the orders you do and don't want to do. So of course your acceptance rate still does not matter, but not being able to drop as many orders as you want or just a little bit more than you were before could have an impact for some people. But I'm really curious to hear what you guys think, if you guys have thought about quitting DoorDash or you have. And if you did, what were the reasons that you did? And if you're thinking about it, why are you thinking about it?
Definitely answer those questions in the comment section down below as well, because I'm curious to hear your stories.
I don't think DoorDash will ever completely die out, but I do think that less and less people are interested in working for the platform or even staying on it long term.
See, when she was mentioning about the whole thing with it being full-time or part-time as like a side hustle, DoorDash and these apps were really meant to be side hustles. I feel like Uber and Lyft also were meant to be side hustles, but those had the potential of doing more full-time, because I drove for Uber and Lyft years ago, back in 2018, for like 1 year on and off while doing like food delivery, and I just didn't like it personally. But some people are extremely successful with it. I just don't like the feeling of strangers in my car and you don't know what's going to happen. You know, look how many disasters we've seen over the years. So with that being said, let's finish the rest of this video and then we'll wrap it up.
For a lot of these reasons, and I'm sure there are others. But that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Okay, so let me know, guys. Are you thinking about quitting DoorDash? What are your thoughts? Why do you think people are quitting DoorDash? And please, please, please go over to Kinsley's video. Link is in the top of the description. Subscribe to her. Turn on all notifications and leave her a comment saying "paid to drive sent me." Let's really make her day. I'll go reply to your comments on her video, and let's see if we can get just one like on this video. That would be cool. Let me know who you want me to react to next, guys. Until next time, get that money, get that honey, keep hustling, keep bustling, and we'll see you next time right here on Pay to Drive and Pay to Drive Vlogs. And if no one has told you yet today, you are awesome. Don't ever forget that. Keep doing great things. We'll see you next time. Peace.